I was ordinary. Just another tired black woman walking home in the rain, umbrella broken, hair soaked, dress clinging to my skin. To them, I looked like nothing. No diamonds, no driver, no ID that could open doors. When the police stopped me that night, their flashlights blinded me before I could even speak. They barked orders, hands on their guns, voices thick with contempt. You fit the description. Don't move. One grabbed my arm like I was a criminal. The other smiked. Look at her. Probably another runaway maid. Please do make sure to subscribe, like and share. A maid. That word hit me like a slap. I wanted to scream that I owned half the city they were patrolling, that my name, Dr. Adana Cole, was engraved on the new hospital's cornerstone. But something inside me told me to stay silent, to listen, to remember, because sometimes vengeance doesn't need to scream. It waits, it watches, it builds. And that night, as the rain washed mud over my heels, I vowed they would never forget the woman they mocked. It started like any ordinary evening. The charity gala had ended hours ago, but I stayed late, helping pack up the medical donations for the orphanage in Ikoyi. I didn't want the cameras, just the quiet satisfaction of knowing I'd done something that mattered. By midnight, the roads were nearly empty. My driver had fallen ill, so I decided to walk the short distance home. The rain began softly, the kind that feels romantic in movies but cruel in real life. I pulled my shawl tighter and hurried along the streetlights. Then came the sirens. A police van pulled over beside me. 3 officers jumped out, faces hard, hands already on their weapons. I froze. Evening, officers, I began. My voice was calm, polite. Is there a problem? The tall one sneered. You tell me, what's a woman like you doing out here at this hour? Dressed like that? I live 2 streets away. Yeah, another laughed. And I live in Buckingham Palace. Turn around. Hands up. They frisked me roughly, their wet gloves sliding over my body as if I was something filthy. When I protested, one shoved me against the van. Don't play innocent, madam. We're looking for a thief. Fits your description. Slim, dark-skinned, fancy dress. Fancy dress. They meant my evening gown, the same one I wore when I gave the closing speech on women in medicine. I could have shown them my hospital ID, my driver's permit, even the photo on the charity billboard with the governor himself. But I didn't, because I saw what they wanted to see, not justice, not truth, power. And if there's one thing I learned as a woman in this world, it's that sometimes you let people dig their own grave before you hand them the shovel. They threw me into the back of the van. The smell of gasoline and fear filled my nose. I sat there, soaked and trembling, listening to the rain hammer the roof. Probably stole from one of those rich parties, one said. She looks educated, though, another replied mockingly. Probably a house girl who got ideas. They laughed. The driver glanced at me through the mirror. What's your name? I hesitated. Adana. Adana what? Just Adana. They smirked again. Just. When we reached the station, they didn't even let me explain. They shoved me into a cold chair, took my fingerprints, and dumped my purse on the table. One of them picked up my phone. Who's this? He asked, looking at a missed call notification. Chief Justice Adebayo. He laughed. Sure, and I'm the president. He tossed my phone aside. I sat there for 2 hours, shivering, humiliated, and furious. The only thing louder than the rain outside was my heartbeat, steady, dangerous. They finally threw me into a holding cell with two other women who looked just as broken. And that's when I made up my mind. I wasn't leaving quietly. By dawn, they dozed off. I reached for the phone they'd confiscated. A rookie officer, maybe half my age, was yawning behind the counter. I smiled softly. "Officer, I need to make one call. Please, it's urgent." He rolled his eyes. "You all say that." But something in my tone made him pause. Maybe it was the calmness, the kind that only comes before a storm. He slid the phone to me. I dialed a number. When the voice answered, the officer's face changed. "Dr. Adana? Where are you?" "Police station. Zone 3. A pause, then a sharp command in the background. "Mobilize. Now." It took 15 minutes. 15 minutes before black SUVs rolled up outside the station. Men in suits, federal men, stormed in, flashing badges faster than the officers could blink. The laughter stopped. The tall officer who'd grabbed me earlier stumbled backward as the deputy commissioner himself walked in. "Who authorized the arrest of Dr. Adana Cole?" Silence. One of them stammered, "Yes, sir, we didn't know." "Didn't know," the deputy snapped. "You insulted the head of Cole Memorial Hospital, personal advisor to the Minister of Health, and board member of the National Human Rights Council." I stood slowly. My hair was still damp, my hands trembling, but my voice was steady. "They thought I was a maid." The room went dead silent. The deputy turned to me, voice soft with horror. "Dr. Cole, please accept our apologies." I interrupted. "Keep them." 3 weeks later, I sat across from the police commissioner himself. The 3 officers who'd humiliated me were standing in front of us, uniforms stripped, faces pale. He wanted to dismiss them quietly. I refused. "No," I said. "They'll face public accountability, the same way they made me face public humiliation." When the story broke, it wasn't just about me. It became a nationwide scandal, renowned surgeon arrested as maid by corrupt officers. People marched. Petitions flooded the ministry. But I wasn't done. I founded a program, Justice for the Voiceless, training and funding lawyers to defend people who didn't have power or money or titles. People like the 2 women who shared my cell that night. When I visited them months later, now free and working, they hugged me with tears in their eyes. "Doctor, why did you do all this for us?" one asked. I smiled, because once they thought I was one of you, and they were right. Almost a year later, I ran into one of those same officers again, the tall one who'd first grabbed me. He was sweeping floors at the hospital. When he saw me, he froze. I walked up to him, calm, composed. "Officer." He lowered his eyes. I'm sorry." I studied him for a moment, then said softly, "Maybe now you understand what it feels like to be seen as less." He nodded, eyes wet. "I do." I turned to leave, then paused. "Next time you see someone who looks ordinary, remember, not everyone with dirt on their shoes is beneath you. Some of us just walk through storms you couldn't survive." And with that, I walked away. People often ask me why I never used my power that night to stop them sooner, why I endured the insult. The truth is simple, because I wanted to see who they were when they thought I was no one. That night taught me something. Power isn't always loud. Sometimes it's silent, wet, shivering, and waiting. They called me ordinary. But what happened next changed everything.